where we've been taken over and experienced and been programmed with there's not enough. Every time we take action from that belief, we create more war, separation, and trauma, no matter how justified we feel to take those actions. There are a different set of instincts that we have that are connected to thriving. They are creative in nature, and they are deeply connected to our relationship with life, how we feel in relationship to the elements and what meaning we're giving that. I keep talking about going back there to the source, to like the womb, the primal womb, and reconnecting with life itself. People who are intuitively, primally in touch with their relationship with the elements. Because when you get it at that level and you allow that primal urge towards the elements, that's when the energy of life starts happening. Intense energies, polarizing energies coming together to make something new. So there is an intensity to creation, and there is a chaos, so to speak, to creation. And the thing that organizes and harmonizes and directs that chaos is intention and like the psychic energy, what our minds direct us towards. Unite in a resonance, not a philosophy, a resonance. And it's the resonance of thriving. And that's why it's such an inward job. And it requires us to confront a lot of these strongholds that want to have us justify war and justify sacrifice and justify efforting and hard work. Because we're working with chaos energy, I really believe empaths do, especially emotional empaths or empaths that work really strongly with the chaos of emotions and feel that in their body. When we are working with the chaos, it's so important that we psychically connect to it and direct it, so to speak, with our thoughts. What ultimate reality are we directing all of this energy into? The dragon energy has been so strong, and I've talked a lot about the feminine energy that's coming up right now, the mother, the primal, the protective. And the reason why it's protective ultimately, like the female energy at a core level is protective, is because it's meant to sustain and nurture life. That means the care of our sensitive psychic abilities is of the utmost importance, because that's if we're a clear channel in our most like heightened sensitivities, then that's when heaven on earth, or that thriving paradigm, or that energy of life, the urge itself that's very magnetic and also like instigates that powerful energy, it starts to really take shape. Knowing that we get to choose how we interact with these energies of life and death, of rebirth and death. Not only how we direct it, but the way that we, the story we tell about it, the meaning we're giving the whole thing. The collective conversation, there's just it's just chaos. It just feels like there's no clarity about where we're going. It just feels like the energy is just like amping up, and it needs to. But the people who can be like, okay, yeah, not afraid of the storm, not afraid of the chaos, and then just starts like shifting it and moving it and like feeling the power of that polarity in their physical being and the absolute allowing of it. A lot of people are feeling oppression and feeling really sensitive to where certain areas of trauma has happened on this planet. And for me, and it's weird because this isn't even anything it seems like hardly anyone's talking about at all, but for me it's been the what we put, primarily women, but it was men too, what we have historically put men and women through who talk about these things, who activate this energy, and who consciously know they're creating with the elements. We all come from different paradigms, different beliefs, maybe even different ideologies, whatever, but we're united in the intention and in the actual primal creation of communion on earth. The urge that I have for this group is to become much more primally psychically creative about how we commune with life. When humanity is in touch with and acting from their primal instincts that come from life and thriving, we can't be controlled. We can't be enslaved. The only way enslavement can get in is through fear, guilt, or shame. Where do fear, guilt, and shame have a foothold in your resonance field? And rather than going to war with that, because remember, we're transmuting the energy of war. So it's actually about healing our relationship to that energy. Some of us may have been normally in touch with our negative feelings, but we're learning to like ride a more feel into those more positive energies, or just like expansive energies. And others of us are contracting and having to feel things that we maybe normally wouldn't feel, but if we're feeling them, they're there. That means they're somewhere deep in our algorithms or in our molecular field. And so allowing the space for the denser emotions and the denser feelings, we have such an association with the idea that high means good or better and low means worse. And that's the whole hierarchy system. We are so programmed with hierarchy that we say it in our language. We have it so deeply in our associations we don't even realize it. Changing our relationship to life itself, even to our language that we use, paying attention to how language makes us feel and shifting there. This conversation, there's a lot of us in it. We just happen to be gathering right here, right now. That's going to expand. But I feel like humans really haven't valued or even understood that they are psychic, that we're psychic. And so, which is why all the war is in the psychic realms, because it's in the subconscious realms where all these intense emotions and feelings that have been suppressed, because in the lack matrix, only certain feelings are allowed, and only certain people are allowed to feel them. And it always changes on who and what is allowed, but it's repression nonetheless. We think that if someone's expressing something, or if we're expressing something that we don't like, that somehow that has to be controlled. Actually, did you know we could allow everyone to totally feel the most intense, even violent emotions? And that the best thing we could do is create space for them? Because if we try to suppress them and constrict their space, they're going to get more powerful. And then as it comes up, as those emotions come up, they're more intense and potentially even cause more issues in the body. Because as we know, all sickness at the core level, at the core level, is a block of energy. So if we could just, as we get so deeply attuned to energy, to primal energy specifically that's connected to life itself, creation itself, as we get deeply connected to that, we clear out, we allow for the energy and all the blocked spaces, basically the principalities and the beliefs that have caused blockages in our energy field to dissolve, because instead of constricting it more, therefore suppressing it, therefore causing autoimmune disorders, cancer, all these sorts of things in our body, all these issues in our body, we just let it go, let it out. And we can let it all out without taking action. And that's the important thing to understand. And that's the witness. The witness. And the witness does not discriminate. Like, I only am going to witness this and not that, because that's judgment. As soon as we feel attached to what's being witnessed, and therefore we want to control it, like only these certain things are allowed to be witnessed, but these things can't be witnessed. By the way, I have to remind us, this is a human thing, very human. Look how you do it to yourself all the time. Wherever this came from, ultimately, I don't know, but it is this program that has been injected into the collective grid, the psychic grid of humanity, that is, there's not enough. And every action we take from that belief creates more separation and trauma. So I'm just going to tell you what we're going to be covering the next 3 months. I want the month of July for us to be, and for me to be, very much primally urging with the elements and bringing it in those elements, like I said. So ask yourself really, like, what kind of elements are you symbolically, what's your soul urging for? We're going to be talking about psychic boundaries, as we've talked about fault lines a ton, understanding where our where our story is in the psychic grid. So where we're going to most relate is the things that we've identified with, and whatever stories happening around those things that we identify with is where our fault line is. So if we transmute the energy there, if we allow there, and if we choose anomaly, as I keep talking about, strategically, in those areas where we typically get triggered into algorithms of lack, that is when we start really spinning and activating those new algorithms of abundance. It's going to magnetize like, because remember, in the spiritual realm, like matches like. So whatever we resonate at is what we're going to expand in. I want August to really be about creative sovereignty, about consciously enacting and stabilizing is the word I'm hearing, our creative essence. This is when all the color shows up. If we keep trying to all be the same and think the same and parrot the same and mimic each other, we're never gonna see like the color and the power of humans when they fully come into their creative power, their creative instincts, and that communion that happens as a result of it. And then what role does imagination and our ideas, which is currency, play in the abundance matrix? And I really want you to think of currency as water, as life. Our creative currency, our psychic currency that we've been investing in and using when we're in lack, versus the creative currency and the ideas, the imagination, the creative instincts that come from abundance. And something about activating the element of it, the currency, activate the currency of astronomical abundance. Ooh, can you feel what that is? Can you feel the currency of it? That's what we're learning to exchange here, to activate and exchange in this group. September is all going to be about mastering our resonance, going deep, deep, deep with processes specifically. Processes that actually have us be more playful and interactive with the elements. Hence why I'm creating the Empath Book of Spells, which is going to go along with what we're doing here. It'll just be like a PDF, like downloadable workbook, but it's going to just have ways that we can interact with the elements that program and activate our new currency, which is the vision, which is the resonance of thriving. And we're not just saying, hey, look, here's this idea out here that we should go to war over so that maybe one day we can have it. We're saying, no, actually we can have it. It's right here. We're just activating it. We're just saying yes. We're giving ourselves permission. And we're communing in that permission. Anyone who's already in this group, you guys all get that. And I'm only gonna offer that workbook here. And then we're gonna be experimenting with the Empath Book of Spells in like the fall months, which is gonna be so cool. So October, November, December, I feel like is a powerful, powerful month, or powerful months. It's a powerful season for change. Like we have a unique fingerprint that and it's, think of how like it's fascinating to me that not one fingerprint is the same, and all of it represent like energetically the different spiral. Like it's set up by a spiral, by life itself, and who knows what's encoded in our fingerprint at the core level, what we touch, what we activate. This is our signature. We consciously open up new realities and new timelines and close old timelines with our fingerprint, and no one can fake it. That's why like when you're fully in your true authentic resonance, it doesn't look like anyone else's. Only our unique resonance can open up certain doorways for us, specifically of thriving. The mastery of our resonance is deeply playing with this Trinity tech that we have, the fact that we're body, mind, and heart, and our relationship between all three of those things.